Hi, my name's Mel. Today I'm just going to share a little bit about my experience of being coached with James Seabar. I gave James a call or sent him a text actually 6 months ago, and I said, James, I've done something mad. I've signed up for a 100-mile race, my first 100-mile race, and I'm going to need someone's help to coach me through it. I'd never had a coach before, and I was a bit nervous and a bit skeptical about what that might mean. And so for those of you who might be wondering, should I have a coach? Is there value in having a coach? What kind of a coach is James? I thought I'd just share some of my experiences. So the things that I love about being coached by James, and noting I'm still working towards my 100-miler, the first thing that I think I would say is actually he's just very good at what he does. Pretty important, right? So in working with him, I've achieved terrain. I've run on terrain that I never thought I'd be able to run on. I've run on elevations that I never thought I'd have the stamina for. I've run my fastest ever PB, so in a 10K, and that really challenged me. For those of us who are distance runners, running a 10K can be a bit scary. And that was all, due to him focusing with me on my strength, working on really intentional running and effort through the week. But at no point was I ever exhausted or worn out or injured. And so it felt like he built me up in a very intentional and capable way. The second thing that I like about being coached by James is that those of us who are runners know it can be a very vulnerable experience, right? So sometimes you fail, sometimes you're having a good day, sometimes you're having a bad day. But with James, it's always an opportunity to be challenged and an opportunity to learn. So I had, probably 2 weeks ago now, had a really tough experience on the trails. Didn't get the outcome I was looking for. But that very next day, James is on the phone talking to me about, well, what do we learn from that? How do we encourage you? How do we celebrate the things that went really well for you? And that's really powerful because it makes you feel safe in that coaching relationship, that really trusted relationship. And then the third thing I would say is, James actually works bloody hard, which is something that you want in your coach as well, right? So as we were preparing for the miler, he was doing these crazy spreadsheets. He had the hard work behind it to help me feel like I had every angle of that event covered. And while I didn't get there on the day, I got to an aid station and there he is running along beside me, asking those challenging questions. The rain's coming down and James is there helping. And I think that level of hard work, when you're just a weekend warrior like me, is something that you really appreciate. So James doesn't just invest in his elite, amazing athletes. He invests in all of his athletes with that hard work. And so if you're someone who's thinking about coaching and thinking about who might be a good coach, I would encourage you to maybe pick up the phone to James, and I think you'll have a good experience.